Hello, let's discuss the circle of Willis from this MR angiogram. So the circle of Willis has two circulation which anastomose to form the circle of Willis. One system is the posterior vertebro-basilar system, which is posterior, and the other is internal carotid system. Okay, so you can see on the 9 number, this is the internal carotid artery. Okay, so it forms the interior part of the anastomosis. Internal carotid artery terminates into two branches. This one is interior cerebral, and this one on the 11 number is the middle cerebral artery on each side. Okay, so the middle cerebral artery terminate into interior cerebral artery and middle cerebral artery. Then this interior cerebral artery communicate with each other through the interior communicating artery. Okay, so on the 4 number, this is interior communicating artery. This internal carotid artery also gives a branch which is called posterior communicating artery. This is posterior communicating artery, and what it do, it connect the interior system of the circle of Willis to the posterior system of the circle of Willis. Okay, so this is the posterior communicating artery. Now the posterior system of the vertebro-basilar system. In the vertebro-basilar system, there are two vertebral arteries which join at the lower border of the pons to form the single artery, which is the basilar artery. Okay, so this is the basilar artery. Then basilar artery terminates into two terminal branches, posterior cerebral artery, one on each side. Okay, so these are the posterior cerebral artery, and the posterior communicating artery, which is the branch of the internal carotid, it connects the internal carotid artery with the posterior cerebral artery. Okay, so this is the circle of Willis. So the circle of Willis has two vertebral artery, one basilar artery. Basilar artery terminates into two posterior cerebral artery. Okay, then the circle of Willis has interior circulation which contains two internal carotid arteries. Internal carotid artery divided into middle cerebral artery and interior cerebral artery, one on each side. Okay, the internal carotid artery and the posterior cerebral artery communicates through the branch of the internal carotid artery, which is the posterior communicating artery. Posterior communicating artery. While the two interior cerebral artery, one on each side, communicate through interior communicating artery. Okay, so this is the summary of the circle of Willis.